balance, yeah, it's gotta be hot and cold, it's dichotomy. Rock with me, we some prodigies. Lottie-dottie, we party. They hear us down in the lobby. We try to tell them to join us, and if they don't, they'll be sorry. No time to be out here hating. It's history in the making. I'm loving all the options, despite everything that they're saying. My mama proud as she ought to be. Elton John keep on calling me, but even if he didn't, she still think we hit the lottery. Don't need diamonds to be cold. I'm so shiny, I'm like gold. You just gotta let it show. Run it back and let's reload. I be like, sheesh, sunset on the beach. Make me wanna pull up on Miami with the heat. I don't know about you, but I know about me. Summertime in Florida, catch me sliding on the keys. Yeah, I'm sliding, my looks could kill they violent. Look at me, I'm the captain and pilot. I'm on an island private. Don't ask me what the vibe is. I can't define it, can't even put that shit down and write it. Yeah, sun shining, 24/7, clouds floating. Wait, is this heaven? Didn't even die to get here, yeah. Looking for the top is so clear, yeah. Everything I need is right here, yeah. Everything I need is right here, yeah. I'm so shiny, I'm like gold. You just gotta let it show. I be like, sheesh, sunset on the beach. Make me wanna pull up on Miami with the heat. I don't know about you, but I know about me. Summertime in Florida, catch me sliding on the keys. I be like, sheesh.
What up? Patrick, how are we?
I'm so good. It's another week. It's another Wednesday. It's time for another roast.
Let's
People are
roast.
vegetarians for lunch. Let's roast. We roast for lunch.
When we say roast, we mean give advice. We mean get better. We're out here getting better. We're taking reps. We're sharing what we're seeing on the internet to help other people grow their internet-based businesses. And yeah, where's everyone? Where's everyone at? I'm in Nashville. Got Italy.
Got Philly here.
Got Italy.
Italy in the house. I was just on the phone with Germany. JB getting his business started in Germany. Who else we got? Paris. For real. Look at that. Wild.
Paris for real.
Brazil.
I want to go to CDMX. I've heard amazing things about Mexico City. Had some friends go there.
Gotta be ready for that altitude, though.
Yeah, they had some of the best food they've ever had. They said, "Love it, dude. We're all over the place. It's amazing,
unbelievable."
I will.
Look at this. Hey, Clark. Good to see you. All right, so this is part of Community Empire. As Jordan was saying, we do this inside Community Empire every day. We have sessions that we do live on Mondays and Wednesdays just before this one, where we help people build their businesses in real time. There's courses and frameworks and other resources for you to take advantage of, but the creativity is part of what gives the energy. So no matter where you are, whether you're just starting up or you're relaunching or you're starting something brand new, bring it to Community Empire, and that's where we can kind of go through, show you how to build it with Greg's ACP funnel, and get it all lined up for success. The idea is that we set you up so that you're winning right from day one, and that's by building with your people. So we're excited to kind of hear some of these ideas right now. And we did send out emails. 3 people read all the instructions, which is actually pretty impressive. And if you got that email, then you filled out the form and got the email, you're ready to come on stage. I think I see someone right now who's joined us here behind the stage. So we're excited for that. So if you did register, go take a look. There's a form you can fill out. You can do it while we're going live right now, and we'll call you up on stage so you have a chance to kind of talk to us a little about it and tell you what you're up to. I know Rob's got some serious chops here with some live paid community. So we're excited to bring you on up. Let's do it, Jordan. Let's bring Robert up.
All right, we'll do it. Just 1 second. Just a quick, just where we're coming from with Late Checkout. Late Checkout's a holding company. We run 6 businesses within that holding company. They're memberships, agencies, as well as some softwares. And once you see the ACP funnel, you really can't unsee it. And that's building audience, community, and product. And so what Community Empire is the playbook that we are sharing in real time as a membership as we're building Late Checkout, the holding company. So we're walking the walk, we're talking the talk, and we're helping other people do that as well. So without further ado, we're bringing on Robert, my man. How
Hello,
are we?
can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Shall I just jump into it and pitch what I'm working on?
Please.
Well, yeah. Give us a little context. Just gotta,
Sure, fantastic. So this is my first time trying something in entrepreneurship. So I'm building it part-time alongside my job. And what I'm trying to build is what I would describe as a premium paid community. So other examples of this would be things like Vestige, Tiger 21, or Hampton that was set up by Sampar. And the idea of it is it's a paid community for people who are isolated by success. So that is people who have very unique problems. So in this space, there's lots of different demographics. So for example, Tiger 21 focuses on people who have previously had entrepreneurial exits and they're moving with 10 million plus in investments from being kind of business owners to then investors. So they have a very unique set of problems and they would like to talk to other people like them, but it's very difficult to connect with other people like them. So what I'm trying to set up is something that's in that space, but focusing on a different demographic. So focusing on London and specifically for high income earners, so entrepreneurs, professionals, executives that are earning about $180,000 plus in income per year. And essentially it's a highly vetted community. So you know that everyone who is in it, their income is guaranteed, their character has been assessed, they've been highly vetted, and it's kind of monthly events. So every single month, there's kind of a glamorous event put on where you can relax and circulate with these type of people that you want to form trusting relationships with. The main issue I'm having, as I said, I'm right at the start, is how to get in touch with the people in this bracket to validate the idea with them, to check their interest. Because I am well aware that kind of looking at the other businesses, the people who have started these type of communities are ones who come from the community, whereas I am not in the community that I'm trying to serve. So I have less experience with it. And so I'm trying to figure out how to reach these people. And I've tried different things, like trying to get in touch on LinkedIn, trying to find through different forums, but how to get in touch to validate this idea and scope what it should be. Because I know that kind of rich people is not really a market. You need to know which demographic and what problems you're specifically targeting. And I need that kind of two-way validation, which I'm struggling with at the moment.
Are people isolated by success in London?
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out. In terms of, there's other demonstrated business models. So, for example, Vestige operates globally and in London, but it focuses specifically on CEOs. So that's its demographic. So there's specifically groups of CEOs that get together that talk about how to be better CEOs, because you can't really talk with the people who are underneath you, and it's very difficult to form kind of trusting relationships with others. There's also another organization, for example, would be Chief, which is specifically for female executives, which is interacting with other people that are like you, but in a trusting, vetted, and very importantly, confidential environment as well. So it's more based on other business models have validated that this kind of isolation effect of being in a certain bracket is real, but it's like what you asked is obviously a very valid question, but that I'm trying to identify a different demographic to the other ones that are already covered by communities. So you need to find something where there is that isolation factor and people do want to form meaningful relationships.
Yeah, so what you have right now to do a little bit of the roasting is a solution, and you're looking for the people and you're looking for the like problem. the problem's been validated other places with these other models, but it sounds like more than anything, you really want to start one of these premium communities because you like that business model.
Yes. And I guess it's also because it seems like it's something that's growing lately, because this space is growing with different ones starting up to cover different communities. Like, for example, doctors, or recent starters would be Chief or Hampton, that covers in the US, that covers entrepreneurs with certain criteria.
Yeah.
Right.
But yes, it is a solution looking for a problem.
But that's okay. I mean, it's just going to take a little bit longer for you to get up and running on revenue, really, is at the end of the day. But what I would suggest doing, because you're not already like in the network or have the network and you're reaching out, is you need to create the network. You need to create the FOMO. You need to create the desire. You need to connect these two people, these three people. You need to put them in a room. So you need to start by very hand-to-hand combat, building your network, building your network up in London around a very specific niche. You can do the high earners that aren't CEOs, or it's really aspirational people in a company. So niching down like that, where it's they feel like they are the CEO, or they feel like they're really high value, A player inside of an organization, but because they feel like they're A player, maybe they're looking for another outlet as well. And then maybe they have desires to be a future CEO, which has other applications for business models for you down the road, like brokering businesses, etc. So really just I would start by getting 10, finding these 10 people, getting coffee with 10 of them, and then putting all 10 of those people in a room together.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think a follow-up on that is people who do just general meetups. So we've got Andrew here in NYC, who's been doing get-togethers. He started in COVID, and just bringing people together who were young entrepreneurs to be like, hey, come together. And he started getting really good at creating small events that people would come together for a reason. So there's nothing to stop you from hosting a dinner party that says, hey, come to the dinner party. It costs whatever to come in. We have a speaker. They're going to talk about X, Y, or Z. You're going to meet some other people in your network, low pressure. And maybe it's maybe it's an hour thing or something like that. Super easy, pick it up. And then those people sort of become that sort of, you're positioning yourself as someone who connects other people and who's sort of in the mix without being there. Everyone who is the person you're talking about is too busy to do the thing that you want to do. So you're valuable to that network. So the question is just, can you start to test that out? Because there'll be some elements of those get-togethers that you're really enjoy doing this, or this is a much harder than I anticipated. For Thursday nights are out. Wednesday nights are in, or whatever that may be. I think that'll just give you a lot of information on the tactics of how to make that work. Like what Sam doesn't say, or he mentioned it briefly, but he did tons of calls, and he started off by targeting the Midwest. He actually started in the Midwest, so they were away from the city. So maybe your case, you figure out, you know what, I'm not going to target London. London may be the place where people come in for the get together, but these may be entrepreneurs who are city adjacent, who don't have that. They can't just walk down the street and meet someone else, or just they're not going to rub elbows with someone because they don't work they work remotely or whatever that may be. Some different flavor that's a slight twist for you that could work. But it all comes down to just talking to those people first, like Jordan said. So someone have suggested in the chat, finding other people who are where you are, who are in those other networks, scraping that data and finding out what are they missing, trying to fill that niche.
Great, thank you.
No problem. I think another thing about the events, sorry, Jordan, one more thing. Another thing about the events that's nice is you can organize it, and it's just a dinner in 30 days. It's not like you've committed to 3 months or a year of support, or if the dinner doesn't work, no, great, you met five great people and they're in your Rolodex right now, and you're like, a little expensive for dinner with 5 people, but I'm starting, right? What's that budget look like? Go ahead, Jordan. Sorry.
Yeah. I think that just like really having an attainable goal that in the next 30 days, you're going to connect with 10 people, and then you're going to put all 10 of those people in a room. Some might know each other. Another group or someone like a historian or something, like maybe it's like Thomas Jefferson, or I don't know. I always mix up these sources, but it's not my idea. But it was like a bring one, like invite one and bring one. You can do it with 5 people and say like, who should I invite next? If someone knows who created that. I think it was like a politician back in the day about like connecting people and just like getting these like groups together that are separated by 1 degree of separation, but they wouldn't know. Everyone's going to attribute that value to Robert, right? Like they're going to be like, I met like, Patrick through Robert, and that's how we linked up, and now we started a business together, or like, just like the things that can happen after that initial network effect. I think really time boxing it in that 30 days and be like, who can I meet within 5 people? I can have 5 coffees or 5 beers, whatever you want to do in 30 days. And at the end of the 30 days, we're going to all meet up for a dinner or a happy hour or a hang or a jam, whatever it is. And, I mean, that's a 30-day test right there.
Yeah.
And at the worst, we always think about like, how do you win even if you lose? At the worst, you're going to meet 10 interesting people.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
I think Keith has a good point here. Like just niching down. Like about what these people like care about. What's a frustration? 180 can be a benchmark, right? Like as like the dollar amount, but what's like another thing that they're doing, trying to doing, having frustration with, etc. What's like another like pain point? It's like we make 180 plus we're this, and that's why we're this. It's like I think someone who's done a really good job of this is Millie from Generalist World. It's like these people who have jobs that aren't like a job description, so they feel like they're generalists, and they have a very like a career that they're not sure what they're going to do next. So they're in a job that's very hard to explain, and they're not sure what they want to do next. This isn't their forever home. So those 2 people, it's like, I'm going to latch onto this like word generalist and the squiggly, and like she owns like the squiggly emoji now. And now she just has like a discipleship group happening on like LinkedIn and X and all these places. Like people didn't know what to call themselves. She like gave them a word to call themselves. So I feel like thinking about what's your emoji, what's your word, what's going to be like that Venn diagram that will really like make things pop. It'll also help you focus too, right? Like it's like an incredibly like freeing thing when you have a name and like an emoji that you're rocking with. It's like, all right, cool, we're just going to lean into this, and just making that decision is good.
Right.
This is a good book.
Yeah.
Recommendation.
Good call out.
Nick is the man. He also is just really good at like hosting events and facilitating. Like I think Andrew Wilkinson calls him like the $1 billion friend network. So it's like instead of being a billionaire, you're gonna create $1 billion friend network. Nick's been really good at parlaying that book he wrote, and also just like that's his ethos. Like he just likes connecting people. So keep us posted. We would love to hear. Like in into September, we gotta get a report on the how it went.
Totally. Exactly. A dinner picture. Tag us.
Yes, dinner picture.
Love it.
Any other questions before we hop to the next one?
No, I think that's it. Just thank you very much for the feedback. Really appreciate it.
Anytime. Keep building.
Onwards.
Let's go.
All right.
Let's go, Robert.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you, man. All right.
All right.
Riley, let's rip it.
What's up?
What's up, my man?
All right.
How are you?
This is good.
I did not expect to be on stage, so excited to be here, and we'll try and keep it tight.
We reward people who follow the instructions. You got it.
Yeah, dude. I mean, this is what we're doing it for.
I've been in my keyboard looking for an emoji since that suggestion was made.
All right,
nice.
let's jam on what your emoji could be.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a little background and then talk just a bit about what it is that I'm building. So I'm American, but I live in France. I moved here about a year ago, actually, to pursue a master's degree, which I just finished. And
Congrats.
I'm now learning French and really struggling. And I know that there are tons of people here like me. They've moved here for school, they've moved here for work, they've moved here for love, and they need to learn the language, but are just having trouble breaking through for whatever reason. And in my case, the reason that I'm not breaking through is I don't know where I am, and I don't really know where I need to go next. Because there's no system out there that measures with any real precision where I am in my French learning journey. And it's kind of daunting just to walk out onto the streets of Paris and start talking to people in a language that I only half know. So I have this idea for a company that I'm calling Haya, that I'm describing as the intelligently social language platform that'll do one thing at first, which is teach group lessons to learners of French at the university that I've just graduated from. And then over time expand to teach other languages, probably English next, and then German and Spanish after that. And once I'm able to support multiple languages, this really cool thing becomes available as an opportunity, which is to put learners of French who speak English, like me, and speakers of French who are learning English across from each other for what are basically social interactions, exchanges, opportunities for them to develop their language skills in a way that feels comfortable rather than scary. And at the same time to develop the system of measurement and feedback that allows people to see where they are on that journey.
Amazing.
I'd fail this for sure. I don't know. I lick a French. This is cool.
Yeah.
So quick question.
Yeah.
Why not Duolingo?
Duolingo is great. I grew up in Pittsburgh. Duolingo opened shop down the road from me while I was a middle schooler, and I've idolized basically what those guys have done. It's awesome, but it's for beginners. It's a game actually over gamified to the point where I don't think people are really learning languages there. So you sign up for Duolingo, learn a little bit, maybe enough to get you through a trip to that country. But if you have a real interest in learning the language, if you make it to the intermediate level, you need something else. And I want to build that landing pad for somebody who wants to go from the intermediate level to the advanced level.
Great answer. I agree. And you should put that on your landing page.
Yeah.
Like Duolingo's a game. Like learn real language or learn languages for real with Haya.
Yeah.
Because you can ride off the back of Duolingo because it's I mean incredibly loved for an insane amount of time. And I agree. I don't think people are really becoming fluent because of Duolingo. Sure, they've got success stories, right? But it really is a feel good Wordle style game in my opinion. And my wife
100%.
did something like this for French or for Spanish, just where we live in Tennessee. She would just go to Panera and speak Spanish with a teacher, but also they would just watch shows in Spanish and then just try to talk in Spanish. And it was just so much better, that immersion. So I think if you could capture digital immersion and even an async guide where it's yo, let's watch this French show, a lot of people say that they've learned English. A lot of the K-pop stars say that they learned English from watching Friends, the show. They just would literally just pick up on the slang and I think that's what Duolingo doesn't teach. So I love all this. I don't know how you're doing it, but that was my first initial gut reaction on the messaging is clap back at Duolingo and ride that because people will stand out,
Yeah. No, that's super helpful. I think Duolingo is definitely weak in ways that I can take advantage of. The ACP sort of framework, I think could also be super useful for me. I've never really built a social following before, and it's not something I've ever attempted, but I think I can turn heads and capture attention if I share in an authentic way my story and my journey as an American who moved to France and is now struggling through learning the language. Do you guys have like ideas or suggestions for how I might turn my story into content that'll resonate and then convert into not just a community, but eventually into hopefully users of this product?
Of course.
Totally.
Of course we do.
Yeah.
Patrick, do you want to go?
I would say, well, just on the marketing side, I can't remember who shared this with me. I think it was someone inside the team, Jordan. Might have been Maya, but like there's a TikTok account where people just say they teach languages. They've got like a language account, but they just say like words, like say whatever the language is, like German or like really obscure German words, but they like say them like aggressively loud because they just sound funny. Like the person I was talking to before this call, I was trying to say, what's I'm like, what's a jumpy house in German? And he's like, Ufencastle, like Ufen Foundation. I'm like, that's an amazing word. Like he jumped when he said it. Like I was like, that's so there's a lot of sort of catchy things you can do with language and foreign languages that people don't understand, right? I think another version of, for you, if you are going to differentiate against Duolingo, is to be like having a conversation with someone, but like putting like scores above them and just making it be ridiculous. Like we don't like there's no scores here. There's no cartoon characters at my job or in this cafe or in this restaurant, right? Or at the movie theater. So I think there's some version people have fun.
I think those are great ideas. I've seen people have fun too with like the weird things that Duolingo makes you practice. Like the elephant had a hard day at work. Like this is just not useful. I want to teach people.
Exactly. Like beyond like the Jordan thing, the game thing is great. Stop playing games. Like games are for fun. Games are for kids. Like you've got a job, or you're trying to build a relationship, or you're trying to become like a local person. How do we do that? I think you can have a lot of fun in that space, and I could see you having some. I think a good lead gen or audience thing would be either some kind of version of live, like an Instagram live or something like that, wherever your demo is, to be like, hey, let's set the stage. I could see you being a little creative with a backdrop, like maybe you're green screen and you're in a cafe today, or you're a green screen and you're at the metro, or you're a green screen and you're standing in front of the Eiffel Tower. Like, what are the things that we would talk about here? What would we say? And kind of talk a little bit about the context and really sort of show people, like model or have happen what's going to be happening inside your space, and people be like, oh, that was awesome. Like I felt like I was there. We had a conversation that was relevant, and it was very different for me than just, we were not playing games, right? There's no streaking here, right? Like whatever it is, you know what I mean? And I think that would be a really interesting way to sort of stand out and add value to people who are like, I like that. I liked what I just did, but I'll come in and do whatever the course is or however that looks.
Yep. No, those are great ideas. Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. I think I dropped her in the chat. This girl, Isabella, she's the founder of This Trip BFF. It's basically just like traveling with friends, but her short form videos are ripping, like in an amount. So we won't talk about all of them right now, but like she's getting like 35,000 users per video in some cases. So I would just like copy this, like get her, study her content, and like basically flip it around and use short form video of like doing street interviews or like doing morning challenges, like kind of what Patrick was alluding to. Like, sure, you can go live, but also like go order like at the cafe in French this morning, and like record yourself doing it, or just do it and post that you did it. Whether it's in like a free school community to have accountability. I do think like the community layer here is like a big element of it. So I would set up a free like school community and just like a place where people can like see, study, like where you could drop like a fun French show in there and just have people watch it with subtitles to start, and then like just really just a place to like share. So when we're talking about like the ACP funnel, we're always thinking about like how to move people closer to home, and like the product is basically your home. right now it's like you've got global citizens, right? Like in your like purview, like they don't even know who you are. They're just like in the world. Like creating social short form right now is just like the highest asymmetric leverage by far. So I would create like short form video, like about your story, similar to like how this guy, Poor Boy Coffee, he's just a barista in San Francisco, and he just shares his journey about becoming a bootstrap barista and building a coffee business. And he just has grown like 50,000 followers in probably like the last couple months. And so he does a really really good job like sharing a story. So I think like, yo, I'm American. Like you could start every video with like, I'm an American in like Paris, but this ain't it. And my name's not Emily, you know? And then it's just like you like doing a street interview or whatever. So you could like ride and trend jack Emily in Paris from Netflix as well. And then moving people into a community, and then like having them test the product out. So that's what I would do. I would do short form video, a free school, and then your product.
Yeah. Okay.
I love that.
Right on.
I love that, man. On
Can
the
I drop
street
my
thing
Instagram
too.
in the comments?
Yes, do it.
All right.
I would also say like man on the street stuff. I know Jason Levin does that. I love that stuff. But just going up to people and being like, "Hey, you're American," and they'd be like, "How did you know?" And you're like, "Whatever, they're your friends." But so it'd be like, "Hey, what was the like? When did you realize that your French lessons weren't working? Like, what was the moment when?" And they're like, people will be like, "Oh, I went on a dinner date, or I had this whole excursion plan to go to the countryside and like couldn't get out of the metro station, you know, or whatever those versions are." Like, I think people will identify with those stories, and they'll be like, "Oh, you know, he's connected, and you're in Paris talking to other people. Like, it's not just an idea I have, and I'm a person in a cubicle, and it's not really like you're there, like you're living the thing." I think that'd be a pretty cool thing. Or maybe give yourself like even do like yourself on a challenge. Like, hey, it's a 1 hour challenge. Like, cannot speak English. Like, let's go. You know, and like you could speed up the video but slow it down for key moments, and you could be like, like almost had it. Like, you know, I don't know. You could have a lot of fun with it where people would experience it with you, which is because the experience part is key. Duo has none of that. Like you said, it's just a video game. And so like flying a fighter jet, very different than playing a game about flying a fighter jet. You're flying. So like, that's what we want to give people more of that vibe. And they're like, this is real world stuff, you know? So
yeah, that's cool. Like, kind of leans into the ethos of like share before you're ready. I mean, I'm not ready to speak fluent French, and none of my users will be either. So showing them
that's
that
totally
like,
the
level
best
of vulnerability, I think is that's a cool idea.
Yeah, like day one of ordering coffee. Like day one of ordering coffee, day two of ordering dinner. Like people love like the day sequences, and it gives people a reason to follow along. Or like day one of getting my French roasted, and you just like go up to someone on the street and be like, "Will you rate my French like 0 to 10?" And then, dude, French people love roasting Americans. It's like their favorite.
Oh my god, that could be a whole account on your own.
They love it, dude. And the pardon my French name is really, really good. Like, yeah, exactly. Like Scotty just said in the comments, like you not speaking fluent. Like if you were fluent, the game would be over. Like,
yes,
right. Like, we want you to become fluent. The audience wants you to become fluent.
Right.
Yeah, I love this. This is great. I don't know where the product goes from here, but like you have plenty of options after you have the audience. So I'd really like hyper focus on the next 30 days, just like get 30 videos out.
Yeah.
And it's going to suck. It is going to be terrible. Like I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to suck. But I would seriously would get 30 videos out.
Yeah. Yep. Just to see, because it's the consistency that matters as well. I think another thing for you to consider, just for an example, early on in Empire, we had a gentleman join who started an Instagram account in Italy. And all he had done, it wasn't even his content. He was just following other accounts in Italy and kind of found like this genre of video where people were actually like making things in Italy. So he's like, I just want artisans who are either making cheese, clothing, farming. They were at a fruit stand. It had to be sort of super natural, like people in their natural environment doing things. And he would repost those on his Instagram account. He literally got to like 65,000 followers in a month. And people were DMing him. He's like, what do I do with these people? And it turns out that, like, in his case, people wanted to go to Italy to where that woman was making cheese. They were like, I want to go to Italy. I don't know where it is, but I want to be there. Like, that's the place I want to go in Italy. I don't want to be anywhere else. And so he got into like it was almost like a travel side hustle, which was like, he was like, people were coming to him and saying, I want to know more. So in your case, with your audience, it could be people who want to go to these places in France where they're like, they see you exploring and they're like, I want to do, you're an American in France. I want to be an American like you in France. Like, you can actually make that happen. Like, come to France and we do an hour or two of like conversation, and then we set you free. Like, go tour, go have dinner, go do your thing. And then tomorrow morning we have coffee and we talk, and then you go off again and you're just become part of people's experience. Like, hey, your goal today is to do whatever. And it's a part-time travel. All right, Jordan, what do you got for us here on this?
Yeah, last thing with the product, I was just pulling that thread with the trips. Like, this Mind Trip just came out with their creator program like literally yesterday, and Mind Trip is basically like a trip planning software. Like, using AI, you can plan trips more easily. But they're basically going like UGC, where there's like creators all like uploading like their trips like to Vegas, and you can like customize the trip. You can ask AI, or like, these are 10 places they would recommend. So this could be an interesting like monetization strategy for you with the creator program. They'll pay up to 10K a month. And like, if you created like just like incredible dinners in France and like did a tour and worked on your French all at the same time, like, I could see this being an interesting opportunity. So I say to say you don't even need to build a product to monetize this. And Patrick just made me remember this. So this creator program it looks pretty cool. Like, I have a bunch of stuff saved in like just Google Maps, but I'm like, dude, I would rather just put it on here. And like, what if someone bought my like New York City dinner list? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Cool. Thanks for sharing.
We got to move on because we got to keep lining up in the back. But I love it, man. Awesome. Like, keep us posted. Like, would love to see you in Empire sharing, and let us know how it goes.
Right on. We'll do. Thank you, fellas.
All right, my man. Peace.
You got it.
All right. Who we got next? I think it was Lieben, Rebecca, then Jonathan. So let's bring up Lieben. My man.
Hey, what's going on?
How are you?
We're doing very well. I'm good, thank you.
Strangers meeting strangers.
Yes.
Look at us. We're doing it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
How should I begin? Hey, Patrick.
How's it going? Well, you're an Empire member, so welcome to the stage. It's great to have you show. But give us the quick version of Strangers Meeting Strangers, and be sure to drop the link while we're chatting with you, so people can find it, especially your Insta. And then tell us, what milestone are you at right now? How can we help?
Okay, for sure. You guys can hear me all right? I'm in a coffee shop. Okay. Well, Patrick, thanks for the email. This is why I'm here. Literally, it's your email. No problem. So, my name is Lieben. I'm 33 years old, and I am the creator and producer of Strangers Meeting Strangers, or SMS for short. And SMS is a community-powered company. What I mean by that is that I work with local producers, directors, writers, whomever you can think of, to bring people together exclusively in person. Let me drop the Instagram and the link.
I think I got it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
So SMS is all about bringing people together in real life. And the way it started was about 2 years ago. I was basically trying to figure out what the hell I was going to do with the rest of my life. Before this, I was in the military. So I spent 10 years in the Air Force from the age of 19 to 30. and I thought I was going to stay in the military for the rest of my life. And long story short, after COVID, I had an epiphany, and I was like, oh, maybe I don't need to do that. And after I returned from the military, I just had this like biggest problem in my life, and that was, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And I had a challenge of trying to get back into to the community, back into the city that I grew up at, and so self medicine was just trying to come up with like, how the hell am I gonna what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And long story short, I had this idea of, what if I just brought people together? And the name Strangers Meeting Strangers really came to me as I was trying to bring people together. And since then, we've produced over 20 plus events. I've brought together over 2,000 plus people in person. And now we are starting to monetize by organizing like this thing that you're looking at, anti-networking party.
Yeah.
And we also host large public events. We have different types of formats of events. Things from tiny, intimate gatherings to intellectual salon-style conversations. A few months ago, we hosted a men's-only conversation called the Salon, and it was really, really impactful. And we also host community town halls. Basically, SMS is about, what if we all really genuinely spoke to each other? And it really works. I think it works so much, not just because of the branding and the namesake, but because of the timeline in where we are in society. I think this post-pandemic is just crazy of how much people are vying for connection and intimacy, for a sense of belonging. And I do that. I basically do everything from designing to production to you name it. I mean, every inch of it.
It looks well produced.
Thanks. I film it. I direct it. I do all. Yeah. Thank you.
It's sick. Yeah, it looks really really high quality. Just like even like the thumbnails. What can we help? What can we help with? This is sick. I love this. How can we help?
Yeah. I believe that SMS has the potential to, like the highest potential that I see with SMS is that it becomes a social franchise. Just as McDonald's is incredibly successful, I think that there is an SMS Tokyo, London, Johannesburg, everywhere that you can think of. And the what I'm trying to figure out is, right now I'm basically finishing this community playbook, like really making sure here in Minneapolis that we have a really consistent, really beautiful experience, and that we know what we're doing, we know how to deploy it, we know how to take it on tour. And then as we're on tour, I want to really find those like-minded ambassadors, if you will, who can then start taking this on their own accord.
Like a facilitator, right?
Yeah,
that's really what you want. It's like a city facilitator.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what I see is that if I could extend it just one more time, is that then you have a network effect, right? You have a network effect of thousands upon thousands of people meeting in person consistently. I think that is the most interesting place to then build technology, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So if we do what we do best, which is bring people together, I think that SMS has the most realistic chance of helping those people to stay connected. And that is where I want to onboard users in real life, IRL to URL.
Totally. Yeah, I think the good news here is that you asked a big question to start, right? It's like, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And it feels like you found something that you could like pour the rest of your life into, it feels like this level of dedication where you're like taking it seriously as a life project, not like a quick rip and sale or whatever. So the good news with that is like you have a really long game to play.
Agreed.
And there's no reason to rush into like a product or whatever, when I think like really what you're doing right now is like a media company more than anything, with local meetups as like the what you're filming and what the media is consisting of. So like the highlights of the salon shop and like the playbook that you're writing is like, I think you do that more and more and more, and then take it on tour, and whoever helps you on those tours, they kind of just start to become like the facilitators. And you don't like go and outreach and be like, yo, buy my franchise package, where it's like it just happens this natural, like, you know what we should do is launch like SMS New York, you know? And like then SMS can become like the corporate level and do like national, like bigger events where like maybe everybody gets together from all the like chapters or all the different communities. And I could see that being like really, really cool and impactful. So I would just keep leaning into like the events and the media and the production like level. Like, do you have a YouTube channel?
Not yet, and that's something that I think I can see where the long term building of it makes sense, of like documenting it, filming it. I think it's been really difficult for me to kind of like really get serious, and then to realize what I do have and to respect it for what it is, and to nurture it and give it time. I know, 'cause I've talked to Patrick before about this intimately, and it is one of those things. So it's just like, oh God, how did I get into this? Um, and I feel good about it. I think sometimes I'm worried that I don't have the uh, maybe the like, it's not necessarily the imposter syndrome, but it's just somebody actually, she said it really well. Actually, you know what? Skip that. I forgot this is some live stuff. Um, I guess the one question that I could ask is that you know, I don't know how to continue forward. Meaning, I can only see my next step. Is that basically always it? Like you're always gonna just kind of feel a little bit lost, and you can only genuinely see your next step.
No, that's we Jordan and I have total plans. We've got all the steps laid out. Like I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I think there's like a destination, you know, like where you want it to be, like kind of a North Star, and then like you're at step B right now, but like the only goal is to get to C. You know, you can have, like you want to get to Z, or maybe you want to stop at S, but like you got to get to C before you can get to D, E, F, etc. So I think just like being okay with like that, like you can't bite the whole elephant, you know, you just got to take it one bite at a time. Where are you based in Minneapolis?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's like a huge city, you know, like that's like more than enough, like where you can build like a very like strong production studio. Like you can put other creators on, so you get kind of out of the seat of like doing all the producers. Like you'll have corporate video people coming in and be like, yo, I saw your event, can you shoot our video? And you're like, yo, I'll give it to my boy Adrian here, he like works at our collective or whatever. So like that stuff will just start to happen if you just like really, really lean into Minneapolis, in my opinion. And like I can see a big economic development play here, where you can get some like state level grants, or even like city level grant for
Yeah, the
like,
city of Minneapolis has been actually helping us out a lot. We have that life cycle about that really works. Can I just share one last thing about this, and then I can move on?
Yeah.
What I actually really want to do is build a. Fuck, yeah, screw it. I want to build is a global directory built locally, and I think that we have the actual capacity to do that. I say a directory because I think the status quo of what is currently there, meaning new products are not going to come out just because you have the most innovative AI or the best tech. It's literally what Steve Jobs always talked about. It's coordination and distribution that is the most greatest difficulty. And I think that these in-person experiences have this network effect like crazy, where you can build technology on that. And so that's kind of like where I really see that is a directory is as simple as Apple contacts, literally just a directory, you know, a public consensus. And so I don't know where to go from there.
I hear you. You should dream big. I think two things come to mind for me. One is you're on a journey, and like you found this mission through your events, and you've gotten feedback, which is reinforcing your commitment to the project. So I think this is just part. It's not the events isn't the final form of it. It's part of this sort of evolution. I would almost think, in addition to being local, like Jordan said, I think other things you can consider are. I'm reminded of the guy who started the Cloud Appreciation Society, which you can Google that. He just like wore a cloud around him. He was like, I love clouds, and people would sign up and they pay a membership. He'd send them a pin and whatever. I could see some version of you having like a stranger appreciation society. Like I can't always get to an event, but if you were like, hey, every day on TikTok, I'm meeting a stranger. I'm the stranger guy. Like I'm going to go up and introduce myself to a stranger and post some clips of that video to my TikTok and just sort of normalize talking to people you don't know. And like, you don't have to be in an event to meet a stranger. You're surrounded by strangers every day. So it's sort of like the challenge we were talking about with before with Robert, I believe, like just sort of say, hey, I'm going to go meet strangers for 30 days and show you how this works. And people will be like, oh my God, it's going to be like, they're buzzing. Like they see you walking up to the person, you don't know them, you know, like, or you have a sign that says like, I meet strangers, like I'm a friend you haven't met yet, or whatever your thing is. And just kind of doing that, because that's going to increase your surface area for people paying attention to what you're doing, because other people will take the challenge. All right, I'll go talk to 5 strangers. You're doing it. I'll do it. You're doing it. And like then they're in the audience of people who are, I'm getting over that fear of not talking, of talking to people I don't know. And those are people who are part of your audience who may eventually come to an event or may raise their hand and they're like, I did it in Japan. And you're going to be like, oh my God, because it's hard to have an event in Japan, but you could have someone in Japan who's like, you know what? I'm going to meet strangers for 30 days. I'm going to take your challenge. You know, that's one version. Another version is just to have them create your own holiday. Meet a stranger day. Like today's the day. It's, you know, September 9th. Like go out and meet 5 people you don't know today. This is your mission. Like come back, share it. It's the hashtag. Give people a reason and like a timeline or a deadline to come together around this concept when you have enough traction, so people can normalize meeting new people. Like I think there's something that would increase, again, that sort of same element. It fits in alignment with your event. It's taking a step back almost and doing it more to a one-to-one level that technology would allow you to do right now to spread that. So.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for the both of you. I think you've given me the frame to know that I have a long runway here.
100%.
To make this happen.
Long runway. All right. Dude, we will see you in the community. I love it. I'll message you. I've got a ton of ideas. We'll jam.
Nice.
But I want to get to everybody that's been waiting. So
yeah.
Thanks, bro. All right. We got Rebecca and then Jonathan. Then we're going to wrap. We're going to go over, but that's cool. Let's go.
Right.
Hi.
What's up? Shoestring Creatives. What's up?
Yeah. So I found you guys by accident, actually.
Oh,
so
tell us more.
So I
joined.
Yeah, I joined Work in Progress, and then got some links to this and wanted to be roasted. So
we can do that.
I am calling in from Nairobi, Kenya.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I run a small startup, and it's a design agency, which the market is completely oversaturated right now. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And one of the things that I noticed here in Kenya, and I've lived here for nearly 8 years now, and I'm from the Bay Area, actually. So in my past impact investments, and that's how I actually got to this continent, right? So anyway, I worked for an agency when I first got here. And one of the things that I noticed, and I was a director of operations is what I did. And then life happened and I worked my way into design, right? And development. And here in Kenya, there's so much talent. So what happens with these agencies, especially the subscription agencies, is they're sourcing talent from places like this or the Philippines, right? And those folks are doing a lot of work, yet they're pushing out designs and things that aren't really connected with the businesses that they're working with. I want to change that. In addition, I want to help the creatives. So that's hence Shoestring Creatives, not because of a budget, but because we're tying it all together. So basically, you have businesses here that operate from an African perspective. The continent is huge. The potential is huge. You've got Google here. You've got Microsoft here. You've got a new tech hub in Nairobi, right? There's so much talent here. Yeah, the creatives aren't getting the access that they need and the platform that they need to be able to work with the businesses here, right? They're trusting Westerners more, yet you need that African perspective. So I'm building a platform that will help connect those. So, and I've tested this model with businesses here, the latest 2 tech companies and a large FMCG company. And the biggest thing that they need is that African perspective. They don't need the Western perspective, the Western branding, of course, some of like business models, strategy works wherever you go, right? However, if you don't have that African eye, you're just not, it's really hard to perform here, right?
Totally.
So I've taken all my systems down, my site down, and I've worked on building the community. You'll have to forgive me. I haven't presented in so long like this. So
this is great. What are you talking about?
So anyway, so I've worked on building the community, and now I'm going to work on the tech on the back end. So not only like this, and let me talk about the tech, for instance. So I don't just want to offer branding like, oh, here's your design, here's your brand package, here's your visual identity, here's your marketing strategy, things like that. That's not going to work. There's too much of that right now. So I want to offer, so what I found in terms of the model that works is linking people with real professionals here within the pay scales and the the price ranges that work, price points that work here, right? Along with the mindset, that African mindset. And there's a huge market for it. So in terms of the tech, of course, it's brand sentiment. It's all sorts of things that will feed into how it's going to help the company work, right? And then we can tell the companies, this is what we believe you need. So roast me. I'm ready for it.
Nice. Well, I mean, I think you're on the right path for sure, and it's very differentiated. Like you said, I love hyperlocal for this. I remember hearing about or reading an article. I can't remember what it was a few years ago that people were annoyed that after all the home makeover shows in the States, they were like the franchises wanted to go elsewhere. They were like, well, we'll do one in Latin America. We'll do like Mexico. We'll do one even further south in like Brazil. They're like, let's do it. They rolled it all out, and guess what? All the kitchens looked the same. Everybody wanted the same kitchen that they saw at the first show. That was whoever started it. And it was like, oh, we'll do the same farmhouse style in a community that had no connection. It didn't resonate, and so it didn't work out because it was all the same. And so I like the idea of going anti-generic and staying hyper-local with your digital services for your brand. Like that people get that. Like the right people will get that message right away. So. I think the question becomes, like you said, is it an audit? Jordan's much more on the tactical side. Like, what is that initial thing that you can even do maybe as a permissionless project on the front side to show this is what your brand looks like. These are the people who use your product. This is what your brand should look like to reach the people who use your product, right? To give that sort of repositioning for them. So I don't know. Jordan?
That's actually really good advice. So that is something that I spent the past few months doing, as working on the framework for that piece. Okay. So yeah, and then building from there is where I need advice. And
yeah, so we think about this a lot, like with Design Scientist, our design agency that focuses on building creative for the funnel. and building brands and copy that convert. And that's how we start with every client. Like we used to be just like, yo, we can design like whatever you want, you know? But it actually like doesn't align with the business goals. You know, it's like you say you want a landing page, but you have no visitors. So like, do you really want a landing page, or do you want like an incredible lead magnet? Should we design that first, or should like we retool your social profile and like get people moving to Linktree and then to a lead magnet and then like communicate via email? Like, what is the user journey? So yeah, I would really recommend like an audit of like this is your brand, this is your brand with shoestring, or like whatever that positioning is, and it's like for a fixed price you're gonna get this. You can work with anybody or you can work with us right after, and this is like what we're about. And I think like with the mission and everything, I love the what you like the positioning of it all and what you're going after. And like I think as the market expands, like brands will also be trying to launch in Africa, you know, and like they're gonna like maybe you take the like the globalization view of it as well, where it's like if you're trying to launch in Africa, then this is how you appeal to this continent, this culture, all the things that go into it. It's like you can't work with a Western culture designer because like the design may look good, but it won't resonate. Same with like Japan. Like the designs are like it's crazy. Like the Western mind can't comprehend like going and seeing a magazine chock full of all of the graphics that they have, you know?
Right.
But like it works for them. And like I can never design a flyer for like a Japanese company. Like I just could never do it. But like I could for I'm not even a designer, but I could for like an American one just because I've seen so many of them. So I think that matters a lot. But yeah, as far as like the business model goes, that's what I would really recommend is like a tripwire offer. That's a no-brainer. Like if you hate it, we'll pay you type thing. It's like, how do you get people in the door? Because like the saturation is really just as a problem as the offer. So if you have a bunch of offers like that look the same, that's what makes saturation, not necessarily like there's always been an insane amount of designers.
True.
Right? Like there's always been this like, you know, like sure, more people are out on their own, but I also think in a year or two, everybody will be back with agencies because like everyone tried it out on their own and they like realized that churn was an absolute monster and they want to do it with other people again, you know? It's just the pendulum will swing, and these like productized agencies aren't actually productized. So that's my roast of the productized industry is like, just because you charge a retainer doesn't mean you're productized. You're just an agency that has one person that charges a flat rate for projects.
Yeah. Awesome.
I think Rebecca, if you have the people already, I think one of like we love the Ad Professor, like we're constantly digesting. Like again, reimagine if you have a team that's already kind of doing some work. There's two value adds to them. One is giving them sourcing work for them. The other value add is sort of like how do you turn being from where you are to a strength, right? Like as a designer, what's your like translating the value of your culture through your design is really important because anybody could learn how to do the same thing as someone else or copy paste, but that's not the message you're sending. Is be proud of your heritage, be proud of your culture, and incorporate in your designs. You know, be Kenyan and succeed, right? Like there's a powerful message in that locally, and so like trying to help them kind of think a little bit on their side. What does that look like? What does your brand look like as a designer from this area, right? That's the side, but on the going out and being like, here's Burger King. What would it look like if it was here? Like, how would your challenge for them would be like, here's your what's the best version of this locally? Like, rip it up. And that's content that goes on the socials to be like, we are reimagining what brands would look like here if they actually were actually culturally, not necessarily culturally sensitive, that's like overused, but like if they were focused on integrating the people that they serve, or that they feed, that they clothe, that they support, that they give energy to, or they sell cars to, what would it look like? And I think it would really stand out because you're drafting off of Coca-Cola or you're drafting off of Burger King, but you're making it distinctly different. And that's going to catch the eyes of consumers. It's going to be like, oh, wait, what was that? it's gonna, because they're used to looking at the brand, and now they
Right.
see a different version of it, and that's a lead magnet. That's we do this
That's
at scale, but we
brilliant.
also do this for you.
That's brilliant, because the brands are here, by the way. They really are.
They're totally there. So you're selling, you're kind of selling to the brand, a little tongue in cheek,
Right.
a little, but it's also people being like, yeah, which one would you prefer? You know, man on the street, like which sign do you like better? Do you want in like, people go, I like this one, you know, that would just be fun content, but really valuable to your pipeline. So
Awesome.
I love it.
I love it too.
Thanks,
Keep us
guys.
posted.
Yeah, we'll follow up. That'd be great.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining.
Amazing.
Thanks.
All right, last one.
Oh my goodness, super patient Jonathan.
Jonathan's been waiting. Should I let him on?
Oh
Can
my
you guys
God,
hear me?
don't even.
Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank
Hey,
you.
everyone. Oh yeah, no problem. Thank you. I am here in Mexico City. Greetings, Hola from Mexico City. Can you guys see my screen actually?
Yeah. Oh,
I'm about to. I can now.
there we go.
I think
Cool.
you're the
Yeah,
first
so I'm
company
Jonathan.
to share a live
And-
stream. We love
Awesome. I'm Jonathan, and my life's mission is to positively impact as many lives as possible. And I'm currently working on a company. I created a company, Courage Camp, and I help people, particularly active and aspiring entrepreneurs, gain more courage in 5 weeks. It's currently set up as a cohort-based course, and then we'll start the first one in September. Basically 15 minutes a day for individual exercises, plus one group session for an hour a week over 5 weeks. You get a bunch of frameworks to rethink how you think about fear, risk, and courage is this important thing. And I'll give you a little bit more context, even how this came to be. This is me celebrating my 5-year anniversary at Apple. I got this plaque, and shortly thereafter, I sold my place, told Apple adios, and I moved to Mexico. So I'm here learning Spanish, and I actually have a holding company, the Sunbear Group, which is very similarly like to Late Checkout. Will be a collection of communities and digital businesses. Yeah, ultimately, I read a bunch of books, talked to therapists, but ultimately I had to get out of my comfort zone, got on stage and told some jokes, hopped out of a plane and ran with the bulls. And the more important thing is that courage is not the absence of fear, it's the willingness to still take action in the face of fear. So everybody on this call today who's willing to get roasted and is working on something are all demonstrating courage. And why courage is so important. There's a book on the top 5 regrets of the dying, a hospice nurse created. Number 1 regret that people had was not living a life true to themselves. Number 3 was not having the courage to express their true feelings. The largest statistical study of millionaires, Millionaire Mind, has a whole chapter dedicated to the relationship between courage and wealth. So courage is this thing that's essential for happiness and having a really great life. The richest man in the world even has an award to celebrate people who have courage and civility. So what I'm working on now is really probably trying to put 50 to 100 people in through this cohort-based course over the next couple of months. I think in the beginning of the new year, I'll start opening it up past friends and family. But the reason why community is so important is because courage is contagious, and so is cowardice. And so when you see other people taking those small steps, it's really important and can be encouraging and amplifying. And the same way that cowardice works, if you grow up in a family or an industry or a part of the country that's very risk averse, that affects you as well. So that's what Courage Camp is. I think I got to start getting on social media and doing some man on the street stuff, teaching some of these frameworks, all that other stuff. But I'll leave you all with a quote here from Walt Disney: all our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. So I applaud everybody for being on here as well and displaying courage.
Look at that, man.
Nailed it.
That was amazing.
I love it.
You came on here, drop a quick prez. I mean,
fired up.
I don't know how long it was, but it felt fast and dialed. I love it.
Yeah, so dialed. So dialed. I love it too. I think one of the, as you get started, I'll be really curious as we follow your journey, Jonathan, like how people when you see people struggling with courage in public, it's one of these sort of shameful and challenging experiences. Like being in public actually makes it harder to internally seek courage, but also to receive courage. So I think trying to find a way that people can maybe the call to action isn't like gain courage, but like how do we give courage to others, and we give courage here, and that you're also getting courage, right? So you're practicing courage externally, internally. So it's like, oh, I can I'm happy to help someone else out. Like when I need help, it's like, I'd like to go inside, please. Shut the doors and the windows. Nobody look at me. I'm terrible, right? But if someone needs a hand, I'll lend a hand. And so I think finding a way to position it so people are like, oh, this is actually not as scary as I think it is. Like like you're giving them courage, but they don't say they have a fear problem. Like whatever that, do you know what I'm saying? Like I could see the
100%.
offer being something that people like, I don't want to do that in public, right? Like I don't, yikes, I'd rather do that with in a small quiet room and then be ready, which is not the way. So maybe you dispel that myth with the marketing, right? I don't know, but just a thought that comes to mind. Very cool. I love it. Like I'll tell you as an example, we were at a ropes course with my kids like 6 months ago. They still take me to this ropes course, which was great when they were younger and I was younger. And now I'm like, this rope course, oh, well, sure, double black diamond sounds great. And there was a kid, an older, 16, 17-year-old kid who could not, you have to jump off the final platform and it's got like it catches you, the rope engages and then lowers you down, but you have to step off the platform. Like if the slower you go, it's like your seatbelt, it doesn't catch. So he like sat down and was like, I'll just kind of ease off, but it would never catch. He couldn't feel it catch. So he's like, I don't trust it. Even though everyone else had jumped off, he was like, I can't do it. And it was, at first, it was like parents trying to solve the problem. The whole ropes course backs up, right? Like people can't get off the course anywhere else except for where this kid is. And he's there. And it was interesting to watch over time as people went from like looking to being like, oh, that's unfortunate, to being like, you've got this, and like I find like literally like 100 people come together and they're all there, and like we can do this and like we support you. And it was really powerful, but that's not why he went to the ropes course, but it was interesting to watch the social dynamic shift. And I bet you'll experience a lot of that in this early cohort. And I really look forward to seeing how you unlock that for people in that cohort setting, because I think that could be really powerful.
Awesome. Yeah. And I've got to lean into my own courage as well to get out there and start building a brand on social media. I think that's the biggest thing, the fear of being judgment. So it's going to be a teachable opportunity in real time to build in public as I overcome some of those things. And so there's actually Rebecca's in Kenya, this guy who wrote this book, The Courage Quotient. He's a PhD researcher, and he actually went out where the Maasai warriors are and researched all these different cultures with courage. But there's 5 different types of courage. Physical courage is the one like you're talking about with the ropes curse, or putting yourself out there in danger. But there's moral courage where you stand up, you're a whistleblower, you see something wrong. There's intellectual courage where people have to change their opinion and new information's come that contradicts their previous worldview. So it'll be, I think, a lot of these, me just teaching these things, or maybe even doing a live call like this. Hey, you bring me a case study, I'll walk you through some of these frameworks. And ultimately what I want to do, because there's a difference between courage and stupidity. I don't want anybody to just go quit a job, move to another country, go through something. It's literally, what's the small, I want to help you develop a roadmap. And over time, here's 12 months. You want to have that uncomfortable conversation with your boss or your loved one, or you want to go start a business. How do we think about de-risking, and what's the smallest little domino that we can do every day and work backwards from there?
I love it.
You guys will see me in the future for sure.
I can't wait.
Like this week, I mean, that presentation was a fire bloom right after we get off this, and let's tag us. Or we'll clip the one that you just did, but nah, we won't do that. Because we got to get the reps.
We'll amplify you. We'll share it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the presentation was good, man. I'm excited to see like where it goes. I think let us know how we can be helpful. Yeah, get that first cohort under. It sounds like you've got the positioning and stuff, and the ideas that you want to communicate just by seeing that presentation. So yeah, build a brand, just share the frameworks out, and I think it's a good model as far as like it's kind of like infinitely like indefensible because it's going to be you too. So
exactly.
But yeah, I think it's Jay. We could roast it, but we're running out of time. We gotta jump on. I mean, like the roast is he hasn't posted anywhere about it, and he's talking about it.
Absolutely,
gotta live it. Gotta walk the walk. Family and friends, and he's read a bunch of books. He showed a bunch of books. He held up a book, and I'm like, where's the action?
Where's the audience?
Where's the audience? Where's the community? Post. So we don't even need to roast the market size, the target audience, the business model, because we don't have any customers to roast. But what I will not roast, and what I will encourage is like he's incredibly dialed and has thought through this and like quit his job at Apple and has been like really doing this like life journey. And that's why I would never like bet against Jonathan, is because like he's gonna do this regardless. And it like doesn't need to be like a boom or bust thing. It doesn't need to be a huge market size, because like he's doing this as like a mission driven lifestyle business, and like it could get huge. It actually doesn't matter though, if it gets huge or not, as long as it's like moving the needle on impact and like it's serving him. So that's the beauty of not taking the VC. That's the beauty of running the ACP framework, and like who knows where it goes. And 100%. The brand will be around him as well. So like, that's the roast and the compliment at the same time.
Oh, we need a new word for that. I love it.
With that,
we're here.
We're out.
We got to wrap. We're out. We'll send it. Yeah. Thanks everyone. We'll send a follow-up email. For those of you who did present, we'll do our best. If you respond to that email, we'll give you a blast on socials. No pressure, Jonathan. And if you have any questions for us, anything else about Empire or just building in general, building with community, there is a free course as well. We'll send you that link to the free course. You can check it out. See how we start things. All right. Thanks everyone. This is Epic. We'll be back in 2 weeks. So stay tuned. Stay tuned to the calendar. Tell your friends.
See you guys.